It's time for the Chicago Real Estate Beat here on 1340 WJOL. Here's Ken Hobolt from Hobolt Real Estate, Ray Graylick of Graylick Insurance, Timmy Yanahan, the mortgage man of Caliber Home Loans, Kevin Barry from the Barry Law Group. This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre & Associates. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chicago Title. Let's say hello to the crew for today. We got Ray Graylick from Graylick Insurance.
Welcome to the show, everybody.
Timmy Yanahan from Caliber Home Loans.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And I'm Ken Hobolt with Hobolt Real Estate. Well, fellas, we got a good show today for you. We're going to talk about something that we deal with every single day on our tour. We talk about meeting with sellers and how they prepare their house and what they should do to get it ready. And after that, if they do it real well, they're going to get multiple offers. And we know all three of us over the past couple of weeks or for the past few months have been experiencing multiple offers. So we're going to talk a little bit about how, as a buyer and as a seller, things you should know about multiple offers and how you prepare yourself so you're best suited for that too. But before we do that, let's find out what's going on for the week. Timmy, what do you got going on there?
Well, guys, I just want to touch base on some facts and myths about inspections and home inspections and appraisals. So it's easy to confuse them, and a lot of customers do. So I wanted to kind of highlight those two topics today. An appraisal, as we had a couple guys on last week, we had Billy Minion
from Mannion
Appraisal, right?
Yes.
And then Timmy Kerfin from the Kerfin Home Show. The myth is the appraiser works for you, the buyer. But the truth of the matter, the appraiser works for the investor or the lender. And the reason is because we're lending our funds. So what happens is we're going to look to the appraiser to give us a fair market value of what that property is worth. If it's, if the purchase price is exceeding what the appraiser is telling us the value is, that could be an issue where the seller either needs to come down, meet the buyer in the middle, or the buyer needs to come up with that cash.
What about how are you guys seeing in the fact that, especially like in that we look at the condo market, 8 months, 10 months ago, let's say a year ago, it was really depressed, down from definitely from 2008. We haven't seen any action on there too, but because of the shortage in the housing market, we've seen the condos and the townhomes increasing their value really fast. How does that affect the appraisal, Tim?
Well, we've had that, Kenny, out in Lockport here. Mm-hmm. So what happened was we had somebody that was pushing the market a little bit further than it needed to be pushed because, in our contract situation, they were about $10,000 over what the actual market value showed. And the reason we knew it was that, pushed because the property didn't have any more improvements than the three comps that were right in the same subdivision, and they were all priced right from $185 to $190. So what happened in that situation is, the seller came down because he knew, obviously they're trying, and he was a flipper, and he was trying to make his profit on it, which we all understand. The problem is you can't push the market where it's not yet.
Absolutely, and I really think that kind of will be worth, the $10,000 increased value 3 months, 4 months down the road, but it's not there as yet, as you talked about.
Correct. So going back, another myth is, you buy a bigger house, it's going to appraise higher. Well, not necessarily. It's all location, guys. As you know, sometimes you're looking at a property that may be a little bit larger, but the market is calling for square footage for that particular area, and you take that bigger house and you put it, say, in another area, it's not going to appraise the same.
Tim, I know exactly what you're saying. I've got a house right now that's listed in Oak Forest, and it's a house that needs to have somebody come in and put their touches on. It needs to be updated. It's a great investment opportunity for a flipper. The seller on that particular home thinks the house is worth more because he looks at the houses that are slightly higher in that price. Overall, that market isn't allowing seeing the big dramatic increase that everybody else is. Therefore, the end result, or they say after renovation value, is less than it would be if it was in a different location. So I couldn't agree with that more.
Correct. And then there's another myth that if the more home improvements, the higher your appraisal is going to be. And as we talked in prior segments, guys, that's not exactly true either because you don't usually get a dollar-to-dollar return on what you improve your home. And a lot of people feel, I just put $30,000 in my home, and I believe my property's worth $30,000 more. Well, that's not the case.
If they painted all hot pink on like Ray's house is, that $30,000 went out the window
With the fuchsia windows.
Mine's hot pink.
Nice, that's nice. I like that, guys.
Yeah, so that's and conversely, so what an inspection is, guys, is that's going to protect the customer. That's not protecting the investor. Quite honestly, we don't need to, as a lender, need to see the inspections. So what happens is the inspection is for an inspector to go in, and it usually takes, as you know, probably anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, usually around 3, for an inspector to go, fine tooth comb through everything from rooftop, getting up on the roof, into the attic, into the crawl, through all the nooks and crannies of the house, and then he gives you a very detailed report as to what he sees as possible defects and current defects. Sometimes those current defects could alter the whole transaction.
Absolutely too. We've seen that before too.
Correct.
You take your daughter's house that was in Oak Lawn back about a year and a half ago too. There was a beautiful house. You pulled up, it looked like a dollhouse, but when you got inside that dollhouse, it was more like a nightmare house. You know what I mean?
And she was like, Dad, I really like this house. I go, yeah, it's a money pit, honey.
Yeah,
let me explain something. The amount of renovations and repairs you're going to need to put into this, you're much better off. And ultimately, she found a rehab that you found for her. And thankfully, it worked out. But that's don't always, people listening out there, don't always think the first house is the right house, because you really want to put your trust into an inspection and an inspector, a good one, to protect your investment, because it could be something that if you do not do that and you think, hey, I know what I'm doing and I've done some type of carpentry in the past, believe me when I tell you, look into a professional inspector. And then, possibly get a home warranty, as we've seen.
Yeah, one thing, too, is, Timmy, that's a great point. One of the things, too, is a home inspector is going to charge you $300, $400. If it's a bigger home or it's a larger building, it may be $500. But you're spending, upwards of $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 on a house. Why not take that's a small investment for a peace of mind that'll let you know what's wrong with there at all.
Conversely, and then we want to make sure they're protected with insurance, and that's where Mr. Graylick, our insurance professional, comes in. And
that's
helps
me,
us.
insurance guy.
Yeah.
So, hey, guys, listen, this week I want to talk about 2 topics. One's kind of to piggyback your facts and myths, Timmy, regarding market value versus replacement costs on an insurance policy. And the second thing, and I'll start off talking about something that's happened in the last 4 to 6 weeks, a lot of windstorms, a lot of lightning, a lot of rain. Northern and southern Will and Cook counties have been affected, and we've been getting calls from people who have said, hey, tree fell down, hit my house. I've got a mound of problems here. What's going on? And I'll give you a scenario. So, storm's coming through your area. You drive home. You find your neighbor's tree struck by lightning, is laying on your home. It's done a lot of damage. And, most people's first response might be, hey, get on the phone to the neighbor and say, hey, call your insurance guy and have him come out here and take a look at my house because your tree just fell against my home. And unfortunately, I'll set the record straight. That's a myth. Your neighbor's insurance is not going to cover that tree, and I'll tell you why. In an act of God, and particularly these 2 items, when a tree gets struck by lightning or through high winds, that act of God occurs and that tree falls against your property, whether it be your garage, your home, your car, the cliche is everybody's on their own. So that would mean that you're going to need to call your own insurance agent and put your own claim in. In the absence of negligence, there's going to be no real subrogation rights to the neighbor. It's just an accident. Now, on the other hand, if your neighbor's cutting this tree down and, he yells timber, the tree goes left, it was supposed to go right, and it, falls into your home, it's a different story. Now you've got an issue of liability, and in which case
I can tell you in my neighborhood growing up, that neighbor would have a problem. Either way, he was cutting that tree.
Or he's getting a haircut, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, honestly, in that case there, now you've got some recourse under your neighbor's homeowner's general liability to fix your home. Now, we talk a little bit about, fair market values versus replacement costs. I want to kind of piggyback off of Timmy's topics here on the facts and myths, because, people often think that the market value versus replacement cost, what's the difference? They'll come to my office, we'll work up a replacement cost estimate, and it may be several thousands of dollars greater than maybe what the market value is. And let me explain to everybody out there, market value is the amount buyers are willing to pay for your home, period. The value includes the land, landscaping, other buildings on the property. Market value also can be affected by the quality of your neighborhood, the schools, as well as the community where the home is located. It also depends, as we all know, supply and demand. If there's a lot of supply, it might not be that, homes are down.
You think about what I just talked about with Timmy about the condo market and the townhomes, and like we said, we saw the one in Lockport. So whether it was in Lockport, whether it was in Downers Grove, whether it was in Shanahan, we're seeing this time and time again on there too. So how would that affect? Because remember, I said a condo that was selling for $40,000 a year and a half ago today is going for $100,000. So how's that affect what you're talking about?
Okay, well, great point, Ken, and what I think that's important for everybody to know out here, that you could pay more or less than the actual cost to rebuild your home depending on the real estate markets. I mean, so let's take an example. Some homes selling for $250,000 out here in Will County, you move it, say, maybe to Lake County or DuPage County in a different community, in a different school system, and it's the same home. That market value could go up or down. But in reality, it's probably going to cost about the same amount of money to replace that home. So, you never want to purchase your insurance based upon what it costs you to actually, for the market value of your home. So now let's talk about replacement cost for a second. What's the difference? Replacement cost is the amount that it would take to rebuild your home with similar materials and craftsmanship. This amount also includes the cost of labor, permits, fees, contractor overhead and profit, as well as debris removal. So, that's something that you'll never have to consider in a fair market valuation of a home.
At today's current prices.
Absolutely. These are all needed in order to rebuild your home as it was before the loss. And there's a statistic out there that nearly 60% of all homes are underinsured, by the way. And there are some features that I think people should consider when calculating this replacement cost. And when they're talking to their insurance professional and they argue that, hey, I really think you're overinsuring my home, you have to think of a couple of things. I'll go through a few of them. Roofing material costs, they vary greatly depending on shingle style and roof style. Exterior features like porches, decks, breezeways can affect the home's replacement cost. We see it all the time. Heating and cooling systems that have a big impact on the cost to rebuild a home. Some homes are dual zoned, some are single zoned. Some people have finished basements, some don't. Debris removal, it adds cost after a loss that's not included in new construction. So, they got to come in and remove the debris. And if you're between two homes, an alley, a street, this is all done manual labor. And also, and we talk a lot about this when we talk about values of homes. Ken does a lot of this. The quality of kitchen and bath materials could vastly differ from one house to another. And, of course, the style of garages can vary from home to home.
Yeah, I'd like to elaborate on that. So when we do a review on an appraisal, sometimes they do come in a little bit lower. The first thing we do is we look at the quality of the construction based on the comparables, okay? And if you see somebody that's, they go to a big box store and that's what they remodeled their kitchen, and it looks nice, it's beautiful, but it's, maybe Formica or tiled countertops where, the comps and what they're seeing in the area is predominantly the granite and those type of features. You're going to get a little bit lesser on that value in that property. So that's a great point.
Yeah. So, everybody out there, when you have a tree fall against your home, it's not always your neighbor's fault. And obviously, keep in mind market value versus replacement cost.
So I got a quick question. So your neighbor's tree's leaning over on your property, and you make a point to tell them about it, and you've got maybe, say, documentation or proof that you've went to him for that and said, hey, listen, I've been asking you for several months. Your tree's leaning over on my property. I think it's going to collapse. What happens in that situation?
Well, first of all, as a former inspector for a municipality, I could tell you that you do have the right to cut that tree as long as it's on your property. You have air rights. Your house, as you guys know, it goes from the ground all the way to the sky. Although the planes don't pay us rent when they cut through our property and things like that too. However,
that'd be a nice a little toll booth
Timmy,
for the sky.
So if your tree is leaning over on my property, up into my property line, I have the right to cut it all the way across. So that may help alleviate your problem.
Do I get to keep the apples that fall on my side then too?
Well, that apple doesn't fall too far from your tree. You know that, brother.
Here's a quick scenario before we go to break, guys. Often lightning will hit a tree, and it really hasn't done a ton of damage. The tree's still in good shape. It might have a split going down the middle. I would recommend you get an arborist to come out and take a look at the health of that tree, because I will say, many people will say, hey, the limb fell, we've got bark everywhere, it really looks like a danger, I'm not sure. Well, once it's caused some damage, insurance companies have limitations on debris removal. So on trees and shrubs and that sort of stuff, it's limited usually to $500 or $1,000. So be careful that you don't run to the principal's office, report a loss that's actually not going to have full coverage for. Now your insurance company knows, hey, something happened to the tree, and now they're going to say, if you're aware of it, now we're aware of it. If you don't do something about it and it dies and now it falls down, now you could be looking at a liability issue or a denial of a claim. So keep in mind, folks out there, trees are a funny thing. We love them to keep us shady and, all that, but watch out for wind and lightning, guys.
All right, Ray, it's time to leave that subject. Hey, before we go to break, I just wanted to a couple things to let our listeners know. Throughout the course of the show that we, not only today, but in previous shows, and we'll definitely do it in future shows, we often talk about, you hear us reference other businesses that we work with. Anybody that we usually mention can be found on the website, cren.biz. That's www.cren.biz. So if you're thinking about buying or selling your house, whether you need insurance, whether you need an attorney, whether you need a mortgage, maybe you're thinking about refinancing, or you might be able to, you might need a home renovation. We've got a couple guys on the website for there. Every week it grows. Everything too. We had what was our gentleman that joined us? The concrete gentleman.
Yeah, Potter.
Yeah, and he'll be on the show within the next couple of weeks too. We'll definitely have on. Hopefully, we'll try to get him for next week. So keep that in mind on there too. So,
hey, folks, I like to just describe Kren like a library. You don't have to know where every book is or what's in it, but you need to know where it is when you need it. So, go to www.cren.biz. Check out all the great companies there that are made exactly for you, the homeowner.
Good stuff, guys. Well, we're going to take a break right now. Thanks to Chicago Title for sponsoring that segment. You're listening to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre & Associates. Time is 12:31. You're listening to us on WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, and Sports. We'll be right back.
Hobolt Real Estate is your full-service real estate brokerage firm. Whether you are buying or selling residential or commercial, Hobolt Real Estate can help you obtain your goals. With over 25 years of local expertise, Hobolt Real Estate has the knowledge and expertise to deliver your desired results. Our team has been exceeding the goals of families and companies since 1991. Call today to put the Hobolt Real Estate team to work for you. Call 708-220-7613 or check out HoboltRE.com. Hobolt Real Estate will exceed your expectations.
Graylick Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency representing several companies in auto, home, commercial, and workers' comp insurance. The cornerstone of our agency is our ability to tailor-make policies and provide insurance choices with top-rated insurance companies. The Graylick Insurance Agency is your one-stop resource for all of your insurance needs. We put you first and work within your budget. Contact us today at 773-284-7650. GraylickAgency.com.
Official rules for 1340 WJOL. No purchases necessary. All contestants must be 18 years of age or older to participate, unless specified in contest rules. An individual may win an ongoing contest every 30 days per household from WJOL in Crest Hill. All state, local, and federal and other taxes or other fees for prizes awarded are the sole responsibility of the winner. Prizes valued over $500 will be issued an IRS Form 1099 to report their winnings. All prizes are awarded as is. All entrants and winners agree that the station, Alpha Media LLC, and their affiliates shall have no liability and should be held blameless for any injury, misfortune, or damage to either persons or property insured by entering, participating in, winning, or losing any contest by use or non-use of any prize received. All entrants and winners agree the station may broadcast or publish their name, city of residence, photo, videotape, film, or any other likeness, including their voice, recorded or live, for any reason the station deems necessary, without compensation. The radio station reserves the right to change the rules for any contest at any time without notice, and limit the amount of times an individual may enter a contest or drawing. The radio station will not be held responsible for busy lines, bad connections, disconnections, computer malfunctions, lost, late, or misdirected email, faxes, or any other circumstances. Get a full list of contest rules at WJOL.com.
Caliber Home Loans Incorporated, NMLS 15622, is an equal housing lender and an Illinois residential mortgage license number MB0004043, 1431 Opus Place, Suite 135, Downers Grove, Illinois 60515. Not all customers will qualify. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. The Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre & Associates. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Caliber Home Loans, along with Ray Graylick and Timmy Yanahan. I'm Ken Hobbilt. And during this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about what to get your house ready for sale. Lots of times I get called and said, hey, can you come over? I'm thinking about selling my house a month from now. Can I get on your schedule? Can I get on your date book to come on? I said, well, before, if you want to do it in a month, let me come on and take a look at some things that minor things, or maybe there might be major things that need to be done on there too. But there was an article recently in the Tribune, and Ray, I'll let you start out by talking about some of the things that were on there, and to help improve the value of your house, whether it's to help sell it faster at a better price, and it help you achieve your goal ultimately of selling your house on there too.
Well, guys, first of all, I mean, preparation is critical. The critical element of success. When you're listing your homes, it's a competitive real estate market. I think we all know that. And being properly prepared for a broad spectrum of home buyers' demands should be the top priority of every seller. Wouldn't you think, guys? I mean,
Agreed.
There's an article in the Trib that talks a little bit about, things to remember when you're going to put up your home for sale. Remembering from the perspective of the buyer, the overall touring experience or the way the home makes them feel is just as important to them as it's going to be to you. Like the neighborhood, the schools, the bedrooms, the baths. So making a positive first impression is going to be critical, I guess, to get top dollar. So, to talk about deep cleaning, I would think that that's something that's simple. Hey, I got to clean this house. People are coming. I can't smell like my dog, my cat. Can't smell like my dirty clothes or my gym shoes or my gym bag, right?
And you'd be surprised.
Exactly. Timmy, what about the house we went in the other day, too? We went into, and from the outside, it looked beautiful. We walked in there, too, and, hey,
it was lived in.
Yeah, it was more. I was just going to say that. Listen, folks, we know people got to live in their house, especially you got kids. You got there too, and they got soccer, they got baseball, they got the sports, they got school, they got other activities, and so you got to live in it too. But there was a house that it was just ultimately was not clean at all too. Yeah. So I mean, from windows you could barely see through them to grease on the floor and whatnot too. So definitely something that house needed to be clean.
Kenny, you go into a house like that, right? You bring your client, you see it, you're just like. Have you ever had people just turn around and say, let's get out of here right now?
Absolutely, too. I mean, in 26 years of selling real estate, it's happened more than once on it, too. So basically, clean the house and get it presentable on it, too. So, again, like you brought up a good point, Ray. What is the buyer expecting to see when they walk in? How is it going to make them feel, and how they going when they comes to buying?
Your common areas, your bathrooms. People know you have a bedroom. You're going to sleep in there. I mean, you might have some clothes off to the side. Main thing is when you're doing a deep clean, make sure you're definitely deep cleaning the bathrooms and the kitchen, folks, because if you're not, it's just really leaving a bad impression about the surface of it. Now, what's underneath all this?
There was a house that we went into that was in Palos Park, high-end house, very high-end house, north of $500,000, and they had left a deposit in the bathroom, and totally turn the experience off for the buyer, who I probably think might have bought that house had they not gone through that experience. You definitely heard them.
Guys, this Jonathan Fox of the Washington Post, he's the person who created this article. He says, no matter what, do not allow a buyer to see anything other than a fully detailed home in its best condition starting on day one. Bottom line.
First impressions are everything.
Absolutely, too.
So what else? We talk about painting, okay? Painting is a very inexpensive way to increase the impression of your home and give it a good impression. And I don't say, let's paint this room orange and this one, turquoise.
My pink house doesn't sell, huh?
Maybe to you, Ray. But here, think about it this way: neutral colors that blend is what's going to sell in most cases. Now you have custom homes with a little bit more detailed painting. We do have a gentleman in our network that is an awesome third generation painter and decorator. If you ever need any help with that, check him out on our site, www.kren.biz. He'll be coming on shortly in the next week or so. But anyhow, what I want to really make sure people understand about the painting aspect is don't go overboard. White ceilings, maybe a base tan wall, off-white walls, just to give them an idea of what it can, an open canvas.
And if you're not sure, when you go to the big box stores, ask them. They'll be happy to tell you what's a neutral color, what are most homes putting in there too. They'll be happy to tell you the popular colors.
Agreed.
Hey guys, how about decluttering your home? It's my pet peeve. You go into my office, and I even tell the girls in the office, hey, listen, no one needs to see all the work you got to do. They come in, they want to see you. They don't want to have to look over a set of files to see your eyeballs. Get the clutter off your desk. It makes you look like you're more efficient. And you know what? It also applies greatly to selling your home. It's simple as it sounds. Just get rid of stuff. No one wants to look at a home, at least in my opinion, with your junk in it. They want to picture it with their junk in it, if you think about it.
Right.
And decluttering is obviously going to be a great way of being able to make that home look better for them.
Well, and, it also makes the house look smaller. You walk in, and I mean, you have things all over the place that again, it's lived in. I get it, but maybe pull those things out. You go down the utility room, you got boxes everywhere. You don't see how nice that storage area or that utility room is with all that clutter. Matter of fact, we have someone that contacted our network. Kenny's going to be doing a listing. We had our landscape guy come out. He's going to do the landscaping. And the first thing he did is he asked me, because he's a personal friend, hey, what do I need to do? And I said, well, we're going to get Kenny over here to tell you more specifically. But from my bird's eye view, and I've been doing this, in this game about 30 years, guys, and it's just like you want to get this clutter out of here. You want to get some of these things cleaned up in the area, maybe take this piece of furniture out. Open the room up so somebody can see what their property and their furniture will look like in there.
Hey, folks, for context, think about how a home builder approaches the presentation of a model home. What they do is they maintain furniture, rooms, and clothes and closets, but just enough to show off the space and allow the buyer to imagine it in their eyes, with their clothes, with their furniture. So I think, the closets have maybe 5 blouses and pants hanging in the racks, but not piles of clothes jammed in every square inch. Because like you say, Timmy, it really reduces the size of everything.
Agreed. How about, what are we thinking about flooring, guys?
Flooring's a big deal.
It's an important one.
It's the first thing. Lots of times when you open the door, if you think about it, you got your hands down, looking down. So when you open the door, that's the first thing you're going to see when you walk into a house too. So,
soiled carpeting from pets and what have you, just not a good thing.
Hey, how about this one, guys? You have a nice hardwood floor, but you have 3 dogs that have trashed it for 10 or 15 years. Now you want to sell your home, and the floor really looks terrible. I mean, it is definitely worth the investment pre-sale to have a flooring man come in and refinish these floors. You can make them brand new again.
And they do such a good job. Some of the guys I've seen, some of their work, and agreed. And you know what? With people with allergies, I mean, it's all over the place. Having hardwood floors and maybe a throw rug for accenting or for, space where you want to, in the bedroom area, what have you, it's kind of a trend I've been seeing for years that, I don't think ever lost steam. Carpets, I was never a fan of growing up, and I do have allergies, so I like the hardwood floors myself. God bless you, my friend.
All right, Ray, what about landscaping?
Hey, guys, curbside appeal. What does it matter? It matters a lot. Think about when you pull up to a property. What's the first impression you get? What's the outside look like?
Yeah.
Nice trees, nice landscaping, beautifully, contoured. It is a turn on, definitely.
Ray, you asked earlier if I ever walked into a house and people turned on and said, hey, let's get out of here. This house isn't for me because of the condition it was in.
Pulled up.
Same thing. We pulled up to it. You pulled up and said, you know what, this house ain't for me. Because the bushes are untrimmed. It's easy things that can be done, too, to create the appeal. Sometimes in the summertime, and obviously can't do it in the winter, but in the summer and the spring, even in the fall, plant a couple, cheap flowers you pick up at the big box store. Plant them with a little bit of brightness on there, too. It makes a huge difference.
Agreed, 100%. Pulling up, landscaping, backpedal 1 second to the painting. Just one thing I want to touch on. If you have peeling paint on your gutters or your windows, that's not going to be FHA approved, guys. So as we go through, and, Kenny, I know when you're talking to your customers, it lessens the amount of people that could buy that home. So, slap a coat of paint on there, have a professional go on there and, take care of it properly for you. It's an inexpensive way to really give a curb appeal.
Yeah, guys, you know what? With the painting, Timmy, right on. Finally with landscaping. Hey, guys, investing in what's best classified as a yard tune-up is an excellent way to help your home sparkle from the moment the buyer pulls up.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely. The next thing on the article, they talk about handyman repair. You've got a couple guys you got Tom Murphy at Murphy Remodeling. They can definitely TM Remodeling, who you can find out on our website too. And also you've got your guy.
All in one.
All in one.
We got all in one. Yeah, all in one's going to do more of a major renovations for us. Actually, they called us looking for a fence guy, so we got another guy in our network, Tommy Grasick.
Absolutely.
Tommy's been helpful in doing my fence deck. My daughter's fence, and he's really good. He's, a union carpenter and knows what he's doing.
Hey, guys, handyman repair, I mean, you know what it does? It builds confidence in a potential buyer that you took care of your property, right? I mean, you took care of it, and they can see it, and they feel like, hey, there's probably nothing that is being, hidden from me here.
Pride of ownership.
Inexpensive, very inexpensive.
Yeah, it's pride of ownership. Bottom line, if I want to buy someone that had pride in their home, because otherwise, what is, as we talk about the surface things, what's under the surface then becomes the issue.
Definitely. Then there's one last thing, talking about staging.
Yeah,
right?
last one. Guys, staging. I mean, you bring a design professional into your home to add a great way to wow your home. You introduce strategically placed furniture done by a professional staging company that will make your home shine. The bottom line, focusing your time and energy and resources on these areas is going to make your home just that much more attractive.
Yeah, and really, when it comes down to it, that's going to cost you 1 or 2% of the sale price on there too. It can't help sell you faster. Some of the smaller homes, I would second guess putting in staging, because you want to be able to have enough room so people can move about and whatnot there too. So smaller homes, be careful when you're doing it. There are staging companies that will help you if you want to, but I would second guess that. Well, too. All right, guys. Well, we're going to take another break right now. I'd like to thank Caliber Home Loans for sponsoring that segment. You're listening to the Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. It's 12:40, almost 12:46. We'll be right back. You're listening to us on WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, and Sports. We'll be right back.
Graylick Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency representing several companies in auto, home, commercial, and workers' comp insurance. The cornerstone of our agency is our ability to tailor-make policies and provide insurance choices with top-rated insurance companies. The Graylick Insurance Agency is your one-stop resource for all of your insurance needs. We put you first and work within your budget. Contact us today at 773-284-7650. GraylickAgency.com.
Hobolt Real Estate is your full-service real estate brokerage firm. Whether you are buying or selling residential or commercial, Hobolt Real Estate can help you obtain your goals. With over 25 years of local expertise, Hobolt Real Estate has the knowledge and expertise to deliver your desired results. Our team has been exceeding the goals of families and companies since 1991. Call today to put the Hobolt Real Estate team to work for you. Call 708-220-7613 or check out HoboltRE.com. Hobolt Real Estate will exceed your expectations.
You know that old saying about walking a mile in somebody else's shoes? Well, just imagine being homeless and trying to walk around in the summer like Arturo.
And people in the streets was eating the bottom of my shoes. That's how hot it was.
Or walking so much just to find a place to stay or something to eat, like Keith.
I had been walking around so much that my feet were bloody and blistered and cracking, and every step I took I was crying.
While no one should have to live a life aimlessly walking like them, you can lace up your shoes and walk for them, coming up on Saturday, August 19th. Join Morningstar Mission for the Mission Possible 5K to fight hunger, homelessness, and poverty right here in Joliet. And for Arturo, your support means something small to start.
They gave me everything. My clothing, they gave me a bed.
But the finish line was so much more.
Like 5 months later, I got my family back to my life.
Registration for all ages is open right now at morningstarmission.org.
This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. You listen to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. This segment is brought to you by the Chicagoland Real Estate Network. Along with Ray Graylick and Timmy Yanahan, I'm Ken Hobbleton. Guys, that was a great segment the last one that we talked about. What do you got to do to make your house in the best possible light that you could sell for the best price in the least amount of time? So if you do that really well, one of the things that is going to happen that we've seen over the last couple of years is you're going to have multiple offers on there too. So multiple offers is basically when you have more than one offer on a particular property. As Timmy and Ray talked earlier, they talked about myths and misnomers about there too. So we're going to talk a little bit about there too. So I'll let you guys jump into it, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you want.
Well, hey, let's talk about multiple offers for a second, Kenny. We talk about it a lot, and it is of my opinion that if I'm in a multiple offer situation, unless I'm really in love with this property, what's going to happen ultimately? I'm going to probably have to spend up, right, guys? And then that doesn't necessarily mean that on the other side, my mortgage guy is going to be able to give me the money. So, there's a lot of moving parts on a multiple offer, correct? Elaborate a little bit on it.
Yeah, definitely on there too. But before we get into this, guys, I want to ask you guys. You guys primarily work with the buyers on there too. So what, from your aspect, from the insurance and from the mortgage standpoint, take about a minute or two to talk about why the buyer should call you before they start looking at a house.
Well, they should, first off, Kenny, that's a great point. They should definitely be pre-approved. And there's a difference, as we talked, time and time again on our show, about the difference between an actual real pre-approval and something that, you got to call over to, you talk to somebody and maybe sent over a pay stub. You really want to have the process we take at Caliber Home Loans is we really want to make sure we're getting a good majority of the paperwork up front. And the reason we ask for that is because we want to make sure that there's no surprises on income or child support or, tax itemization, write-offs, for certain individuals that may affect their overall income. So it's important for that in that aspect. And, I've seen people take our customer based on a Caliber Home Loans approval or pre-approval, I should say, because they know our integrity as a team and as a company. We don't put our name out there just to get it moving. You get the pressure from the realtor, hey, I need this now. I got to tell you, I can't give it to you until I get the information, because why would I waste your time, Mr. Broker?
Hey, guys, in terms of insurance, I could close on a deal the day of, but I'm not really going to do a great job for that person. I'm going to tell you why. Because, first of all, there's a thing called an escrow. People that do a good job shopping for insurance, they'll call our office, say, hey, I'm looking at a ranch. It has to have, a certain amount of square feet. It's going to be a certain area, but it has to have a finished basement. Or they'll have one that say, hey, it's not a finished basement. This gives me an opportunity to really strongly go out there, evaluate their needs, and write the right sort of coverage for them. Now, of course, the price of their insurance is going to affect their escrow. It gives me an ability to shop through various carriers to give them the best rates, the best coverage. And I can tell you that waiting till the last second, it happens sometimes. Maybe they got mad at their current insurance person and they contact us. I know I get referrals all over the place like that. Some people does it, somebody does it wrong and I got to fix it. And that's fine. I'll do it all day long. But my recommendation is just like anything else, do your due diligence, shop, use an independent agent, because those are the people out there who can shop several markets. They're not just stuck to one insurance company, and that's a big downfall too.
Okay, so why don't you, we pulled this article out of the Illinois Realtor magazine there too. So I'll tell you what, why don't you guys fire the questions, because it's the real estate, I'll be happy to answer them, and then if you guys got something.
All right, let's see if we can, stump Kenny.
I got the answer,
real
just
estate
like I
guy.
did when I was at Lewis University.
Yeah, you cheated.
Must the listing broker always disclose there are multiple offers to a buyer, Ken?
While this is preferable, the listing broker must disclose only if the seller discloses there too. And I can tell you, this happened to me probably about on a multi-unit building about a year and a half ago. And the other agent did not disclose. And we were going along. In fact, I had dropped off earnest money. I had a signed contract and everything else there too. We did not get the property. Somebody else got the property. So great question, Tim.
Hey, Ken, how about this one? True or false? The listing broker is automatically permitted to stop presenting offers once the seller has accepted a contract in place.
No, absolutely not. Anytime, unless the in writing the seller tells you to stop bringing me offers, you have to tell them all the way up to closing. So anytime there's an offer, I can give you we talked about the house I have listed in Oak Forest. They're almost like robo sent out. They send out these lowball offers. I presented all those too. They sight unseen, they send out a lowball offer. If they get it, they'll take it. But if not, they don't do it. So those have to be presented. So all the way up until the time of closing.
So we've seen this. The listing agent has been directed by the seller. Just get me the highest and best offers from the multiple buyers. And what is the effect on that request for those offers?
Well, it allows there to be a rejection of all the other offers on there too. So I'm going to take all the offers are going to come in at the same time. They're due by a certain time. After that, they're able to review them.
Okay.
Hey, Kenny, true or false? The Illinois Real Estate License Act and the Realtor Code of Ethics govern the behavior of unlicensed sellers and buyers.
Well, I got a 50-50 chance on this one too. No, that's false. Only those that are licensed by the state of Illinois.
There's another true and false. See, you like this. I remember in night school you liked these questions. An escalation clause in a foolproof method for buyers to win the multiple offer situation.
False. But when they talk about escalation clause. They also call it automatic escalation clause. Is that they every time that in a multiple offer situation, if somebody bids $1, I automatically go 10 cents over that. So I'm at $1.10. If somebody goes $1.20, I'm going to $1.30 up until a certain point. It is not a foolproof way to do it because they don't necessarily have to take the highest price on there too on an offer.
In the absence of our good friend Kevin Berry from Berry Law, this is a question I think, Kenny, I'm going to throw this one at you anyway. What is a possible legal effect of a seller countering 2 offers at the same time?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. If you guys remember that old commercial on it, too. I use it on the kids. They didn't know it. The possible legal effect of 2 offers being accepted at the same time is that the seller has sold his property twice. This is a legally uncomfortable position to be in.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in it myself.
What if a seller suggests countering two offers at the same time? What should a listing agent do in that?
Absolutely, and it does happen quite often there too. The listing officer should and has an ethical obligation to refer the seller to the legal counsel. So I would say, listen, if you really want to go with both contracts, let's take a look at it, and you should talk to your attorney.
Here, I'm going to stump you on this one, Ken. What practice might a licensed agent use to prove the buyer in a multiple offer situation that the listing agent has presented all offers to the seller client?
That's a good question, right? Well, I guess if it's at all possible, the listing agent should encourage the seller to sign some acknowledgement of the seller's actions. Is it in the bottom of the contract? It rarely ever gets used, but there's a thing that says it was presented and it was rejected, and there's a time and a date and a time stamp on it too as well.
We came across this. Seller must always accept the highest offer.
Absolutely not. There's a lot of conditions that goes in there too. And this is why we talked about if you're a buyer, you really want to get pre-qualified. You want to talk to your insurance guy. You want to talk to your attorney. Have all your ducks in a row so when you're ready to go, they don't have to take the highest and best price on there too. So, but the best capable buyer is the one that I'm looking to is the challenge too. So. Guys, we got a couple of minutes left. That's it on multiple offers. So whether you're a buyer or a seller, make sure you're aware of that. That's going in there too. Another question that you want to ask is if you're the buyer, ask if the agent is also the listing agent. Is also representing both sides. If any of the other multiple offers are his as well too. So, guys, we got about a minute left. You got something, Tim, for the show?
Yeah, I just want to thank our guys over at Chicago Title. Came up today, actually at Ray's office. I had to drop something off there, and Dominica, she asked me, is it a good time to refi? I get those calls a lot right now. And there's a misnomer that it should be 1% drop in your interest rate. It's individuals, folks. It's individual situations. It may be able to lower your interest rate, shorten your term, eliminate. Mortgage insurance would be a reason. Instead of paying and charging up your credit cards, have a tax-deductible home improvement loan, roll into your first and knock the term down. I'm dealing with several situations. So.
Timmy, what if I have an adjustable rate mortgage?
Yeah, you fix it. I mean, right now the rates are low, guys. Fix it up. It would be my opinion if you're going to stay in that home. One other thing I'd like to do is thank Chicago Title because they will come to your home and close your refinance right at your kitchen table for you.
That's awesome.
And there too.
Also, one other thing, I wanted to mention that our Kren team, we're going to be meeting this Thursday, and I want to thank our host, Twisted Shamrock, over at 65th and Central by Midway Airport for accommodating us for our meeting this Thursday.
Yeah, they treat us real well every time we go in there too.
Thank you.
They're great to us. I really appreciate their offer to us to host our group. A lot of our guys will be coming in there bringing new things to the table, and it'll be a good day.
And then we got Kerry Pastori coming from our Kren Network.
Timmy's boss. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, I got to be on my best behavior.
Don't give Timmy the questions on that one too. Yeah. Next week, Kerry Pastori from Caliber Home Loans is going to talk us a little bit depth. Timmy gives us a great job every week of talking about on the street level we're doing. We're going to talk a little bit more corporate, a little bit more things about, and if you're thinking about joining a company, Caliber Home is a great place to do business with. We've been working together with these guys for quite a long time, and if you're out there in the mortgage industry, you're thinking about joining, Kerry's going to talk a little bit about that as well too. So,
lastly, I think next week we're going to hopefully have an interview with the business development manager of Oak Lawn, Mr. Steve Radis. We hope to have him join us. He was supposed to actually be here this week, and he had a prior commitment last minute, and he's got a lot of great things to talk about in the village of Oak Lawn.
Great.
Good
Well, that'll
stuff.
do it for this week. Thanks to our sponsors, Chicago Title, Caliber Home Loans, the Chicagoland Real Estate Network, and the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. We'd like to thank our guests. Well, actually, we didn't have any guests there, so we're not.
I'd like to thank you, Kenny.
I want to thank. I feel like you guys are.
Ray, I want to thank you too.
For getting you out of that.
I want to thank the members of the crew, Ray Graylick and Timmy Yanahan. You're listening to Chicago Real Estate Beat on WJOL, Will County's News Talk and Sports. We'll see you next week.